Thanks for joining today. Today I'm going to do my initial impressions on a new shoe for me. It is the Inov8 Trailfly. This shoe has been out for over a year. I'm just now getting around to reviewing it, but I used Inov8 shoes several years ago. I had a one that was called the Trail Talon, and it had like 6mm lugs. The version I had very little cushion, but it was great in muddy conditions. I actually found the toe box pretty narrow, but I still would pull it out. I was able to run it in very muddy sort of conditions, and it was a good shoe. Fast forward, I found out that Inov8 has made a change in the last year to making a lot of their shoes now with an anatomical toe box. They've always used kind of a lower drop. Majority of their shoes are lower drop type shoes, which is speaking my language, right up what I usually like. So when I go to the Trail Talon, they have a 6mm drop. They break theirs down into how thick the foam is, how thick the lugs are, and all that. So this actually has 18mm of foam in the heel, 12mm in the forefoot. So that's your 6mm drop. But then you add, there's 1mm of rubber along the bottom, so that adds 1mm more of stack height. And then you've got 4mm lugs. So and then you have a 6mm really spongy boomerang footbed. This is made of TPU beads. It's very comfortable. It adds some bounce. So when you add all that together, you really end up with a 29mm stack height in the heel, 23 in the forefoot for 6mm drop. Makes it a little bit higher stack height than, say, my well, obviously higher than the Lone Peaks, which are 25mm straight across. It's higher than my Terra Venture, which is 25 in the heel, 22 in the forefoot. It's a little less than the Topo mountain racers that I use, that are 33 in the heel, 28 in the forefoot. With that said, it's very interesting. They've got an extremely breathable mesh upper up here. They do put a lot of overlays on it that keep it structured and keep your foot really wrapped into place. It uses what they call the Power Flow Pro foam, which is actually their EVA compound. It has 4mm lugs. Now their lugs are made out are rubber that are graphene infused, which they say makes them some of the most durable lugs out there. They actually market this shoe and say it's good for dry conditions. 4mm, and they've said they've done some improvement to the lugs to also make them better in wet conditions. Now I will say they're saying 4mm lugs because they have the Talon series, which are like 6mm deep, and the Mudathlon series or whatever that are 8mm deep, that they use in mud because there's a lot more rain in the UK and they run a lot more on muddy trails. For most of us in the US, this is 4mm lugs is pretty standard, and it goes well in most conditions. I have not gotten to run in these in the rain yet, in the mud, but it has been very impressive grip on the trail otherwise, both with rocks and just regular trail conditions. Trying out the trail flies on the trail. lugs are multi-directional, so they grip good going uphill and downhill. They say that this material will be more durable. I'm sure it adds a little bit. It adds some weight because they have full rubber coverage, which the majority of don't. They actually have a pretty good toe bumper up here to protect your feet. So I think these are very protective shoes. I do like that nice wide toe box. They are pretty narrow through the midfoot, but I find I'm getting really locked in well through the heel and through the midfoot. I sized mine in my normal size of 11 and a half. A lot of places say you should go up half a size. I'm caught on the fence. I think the 11 and a half works well for me. I think a 12 might work well though as well. These aren't super light shoes. They're 9.9 ounces, 280 grams in a men's size 9. When I measure my men's size 11 and a half, I'm getting 10.9 ounces. It puts it right in the ballpark with a lot of my other trail shoes. But I do think these are probably a little more protective and durable. They have a meta plate, a soft rock plate through it, which further protects you because you still have 23 millimeters of stack height in the forefoot, but when you add that meta plate, rock plate, I think it's going to be really protective. They use, anyway, I went with what they now call as their standard fit, which is still the anatomical toe box. You can go with their wide fit, which maybe what I try the next time I buy one, but it is still the same back through the midfoot and the heel. It just makes it 5 millimeters wider across the forefoot. But I'm finding this plenty big for me right now. If you have a wider foot, you might want to go with their wide fit. Anyway, I'm really enjoying the shoes so far. I find the grip really nice. I think they're going to be very nice and durable. Like I said, I was interested in the brand because I had some success with the Trail Talons quite a few years ago, and I like that they're coming out with this, and I was able to buy them at a bit of a reduction in price. The fact that they've been out over a year helps. I think they sell for $150 US. Is the normal price. They're now coming out with, because this shoe has been pretty popular, they're coming out with new versions of it. Like they have the Trailfly Max, which adds 6 millimeters more of cushion in the heel and the forefoot. They have the Trailfly Zero, which is basically the 12 millimeter all the way across, and it's flat. What they're doing in some of the new shoes is they're going to what they call their Fly Speed Pro midsole. Instead of using the Power Flow Pro, they're using that, and it's a supercritical foam. So they're putting some nitrogen into the things, which probably will make them a little bouncier, might make them a little lighter. But I think these are going to be very durable, good shoes, and I like the way they fit so far. They've got the pull tab. Anyway, I think just a good solid shoe. I just thought I would share the information. I've got about a little over 15 miles in them, and I'm enjoying them so far. If you enjoyed the video, please consider hitting the thumbs up, the like button. If you're interested in more of my content, please consider subscribing to my channel. And other than that, I hope you're having a wonderful day, and keep moving!